They dragged Captain Adrian Vale into the Chamber of Accord in chains of light. And High Executor Saelith smiled for the cameras. Because tonight the galaxy would watch a human being stripped of pride, rank, and myth. Not with torture, not with execution, but with laughter. And to Saelith, that was always the sharper blade. Humanity had embarrassed the Vare Dominion for 2 straight years. Their fleets kept surviving, their diplomats kept refusing tribute, and their soldiers kept turning retreats into victories. So Saelith chose spectacle over war. She captured one commander, announced the ancient circle of witness, and invited delegates to watch him fail before the stars. The ritual was simple. The prisoner answered impossible questions, endured memory probes, and surrendered dignity before mercy was granted. No one had ever left the circle honored. Then the human lifted his bruised face, met the eyes of an empire, and smiled like he had seen the ending. Saelith descended her crystal dais in robes that shimmered like silver. The chamber beneath her blazed with alien sigils and translators, and Adrian stood at the center, looking half-broken. One eye swollen, lower lip split, uniform torn. "Captain Adrian Vale of Terra," she said, "your species claims adaptability, bravery, and intelligence as if the universe owes you applause. Tonight, you will show us whether humanity is exceptional, or merely loud laughter rolled through the upper tiers." Ministers leaned back in satisfaction. The outcome seemed obvious before the first question arrived. The room expected a collapse, and history loves the second before it is disappointed. Her opening strike came from astrophysics. She demanded the collapse sequence of a neutron veil inside a trinary sink. Using archaic Dominion notation designed to confuse offworlders, Adrian inhaled once, answered in fluent Vare, then calmly explained that the notation itself failed under combat drift. Scholars checked their slates and went pale. The second question came harder. The closing covenant of the extinct Oran choir in original meter. Adrian recited it without hesitation, then added a lost refrain missing from every Dominion archive. An elderly Oran delegate rose so suddenly his translation halo flickered. Saelith pivoted at once, presenting battlefield dilemmas engineered to humiliate. Save civilians and lose the war, save the war and betray allies. Preserve honor by sacrificing soldiers. Preserve soldiers by abandoning truth. But Adrian answered like a man who had carried the dead leadership, he said. Was choosing which pain you would live with when no clean choice remained, and suddenly the laughter was gone. Because the prisoner had stopped performing and started becoming undeniable. Saelith felt the shift like a crack under stone. So she unleashed the memory lattice. An obsidian ring descended around the circle. Blue static crawling over his skin. It dragged private grief into public view. And Saelith wanted grief. She wanted tears. She wanted the galaxy to see a human heart buckle. The lattice ignited, and the chamber screens flooded with Adrian's memories. A Martian dock burning. A pilot laughing over. Comes while her cockpit filled with fire. A child's glove spinning through vacuum. A grease-stained woman shoving Adrian toward an airlock and shouting that he did not get to die before finishing the job. Raw loss poured into the hall, and Saelith struck, while he shook. "Why do humans fight?" she demanded. "When you are smaller, poorer, softer? And always one breath from extinction, he should have broken there. And the Empire knew it, which is why nobody moved when he raised his head. Because extinction has been in our house since the first night we feared the dark," Adrian said. Voice ragged but steady, and we learned to eat anyway. Because the universe hit us with cold, plague, hunger, gravity, distance. And each other. And every time we buried our dead. Then built something louder. Because fragile is not the same as weak. Because soft things bend, heal, adapt. And survive what hard things cannot. Because when we cannot win by power, we win by refusing to stay defeated long enough for the universe to call us finished. The words spread through the chamber like light entering ruin. Saelith opened her mouth to cut him off, but the Oran delegate shouted that the human had restored their lost covenant. Then a Kepri admiral stood and testified that Terran rescue crews once flew into a radiation storm to save Kepri eggs while Dominion ships retreated. Then a traitor from the Dust Moon swore that humans honored contracts even when unprofitable. Voices rose, one after another, not in defense of one prisoner, but in recognition of a truth the Dominion had tried to sneer into silence. That was when Saelith understood the disaster. She had not summoned a captive. She had summoned a mirror. The chamber was hers no longer. It had turned into judgment, every witness looking past Adrian and up toward the dais. Toward the empire that had mistaken cruelty for majesty, Saelith still possessed authority. She stepped down into the circle if she ordered Adrian executed. Fear might still save her image, but close enough to see him clearly, she found something more threatening than rebellion. Dignity, not defiance for display, but the dignity of someone who had suffered, lost, and still refused to become smaller for anyone's comfort. Around them, the delegates began to rise in silent waves. Because by ancient Dominion law, the presiding executor could name a victor of the circle, and every mind in that chamber now knew who had won. The galaxy held its breath. Because power was about to decide whether truth could live. Saelith reached the circlet on her brow, the iridescent band of command no prisoner had ever touched, and her voice shook. "You came here to be reduced," she said. Turning so, every camera caught her face. "Instead, you have reminded this chamber what greatness looks like." Then she removed the circlet and placed it in Adrian's scarred hands. "Rise, Adrian Vale of Terra," she declared. Crown witness of the accord, and the chamber erupted. Not with mockery, but with the thunder old civilizations make when fear loses its monopoly on the future. Adrian had entered the hall as a captive, meant to be mocked into insignificance. Yet he stood at its center, crowned not by conquest, not by bloodline, but by worth. And the woman who wanted to humiliate the human ended by doing the one thing the galaxy would never forget. She placed honor where she had meant to place shame. And in that single act, she did not lower him. She raised humanity itself.